I welcome all of you, respected my council colleague, and first of all, my vice chairman, C. Raj Chawla ji, where another very dynamic council member, Visalji Doshi. We have Sri Priya Kumar from Chennai, Visalji Doshi from Baroda. We have Gyanji Misra from Ghaziabad, and the officer and all the very young and dynamic members of this profession. I welcome all of you in this virtual uh, combined orientation program, which we are going to start this uh, campus placement for smaller center. This is the 56th edition of this campus placement program. We have just concluded this 9 big center recruitment, and you might be aware that a huge uh, encouraging response we have received. More than 4,400 response or job offer were given by the 75 corporate house, and out of that more than 3,000 of you have accepted those offer. And the best part of this term campus placement is that earlier it was a minimum package was 6 lakhs, so we have increased it to 9 lakhs minimum, and the average pay package last campus was around 10 lakhs something, and this time it is 12.48 lakhs. So it is a big jump of 2.5 lakhs from the last campus to this campus. So that is a good news to all of you. This time, this smaller center, we have also increased 6 new centers like Bhopal, Lucknow, Patna, Raipur, Ranchi, and Baroda. So these smaller 6 center becomes 18 smaller center in which you are going to be recruited by more than 75 corporate house are going to recruit you in the next 27th of September when this campus will going to start. And if you see there is a huge requirement or huge demand of the Indian chartered accountant, not only in India, across the globe, because the way the economy is growing, the way various sectors are growing. India has already come on the 5th position by beating UK also recently. Because of all these developments are taking place, we are Atmanirbhar Bharat manufacturing sector, we are increasing our base. Defense sector, we are increasing our base. So everywhere the India is leading itself. So there is a huge demand for a professionals like you across the globe. And I hope this campus placement for a smaller center, because the talent lies the smaller center first, then the bigger center later. So you will be benefited and you will be recruited by this corporate house. I wish all of you best of luck for this campus placement program which you have attended today. Thank you very much.
So may we now request Mr. Gyan Mishra ji to kindly address the audience, please.
Thank you, Ranganathan ji, very respected secretary of the committee. Chairman of CMIB, a very dynamic leader of the profession, Sri Ranjit Agrawal ji, Vice Chairman of the committee, and of course, a person who is behind this MSME Yatra show across the country, Sri Raj Chawla ji, my good friend from Baroda, Vishal Doshi ji, a very dynamic leader from Chennai, Sri Priya madam, and of course, the officers of the institute. Good afternoon to all of you. At the outset, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome the newly qualified chartered accountants in the profession. Friends, indeed, this is your hard work, your perseverance, and your dedication towards the profession that you have qualified the very important course of the country, that is the chartered accountancy course. Friends, we all know that the course which you have qualified has a lot of parameters because of which the profession has sustained as one of the noble and glorious profession for the last 73 years. You all are torch bearers of the profession. You are all brand ambassadors of the profession. At the time when we see that the globe is suffering with a lot of issues, if we see in UK, the oil crisis, the unemployment issues are going on. In the US, if we see the inflation is the major issue. We as a country are growing in around 7.5% of GDP growth. Today itself, our Honorable Prime Minister yesterday told that we are about to grow at the pace of 7.5%. So we are moving towards one of the developed economy in coming time. Need of the chartered accountants and their value addition in the ecosystem of the country is inherent, and that is to be taken as one of the prime way to accelerate the economic growth. So I'm sure that you people have joined a course which is really of utmost important at this juncture in the country. Friends, 2-3 things more I would like to discuss with you. The hallmark of the profession certainly lies with the 3 miracle words: excellence, independence, and integrity. Wherever you are, you have to follow all these 3 words. And most importantly, the chartered accountants have been the conscious keepers of the ecosystem. I'm sure that you will keep on as one of the best valued accounting professionals to ensure that the accountability is there with the accountancy. The third thing that I would like to discuss with you, along with each and everything, the pace of technology is very high. We have to match with the change, and rather I will say robust change that we are seeing in the technology. And I'm sure that you people are best in that. The last thing, without taking much time, the last thing that I would like to share with you, that you are a chartered accountant, you are certainly going to contribute in the economic arena, but at the same time, the country needs good human beings. So you have to ensure that wherever you are a thorough gentleman, you are really a good professional, and the society sees at you, eyes at you, that you are really a wonderful human being who is going to deliver at their best to the cause of the society, along with the ecosystem of the society. So friends, I will not take much time. I once again congratulate to each and every one of you. Please be assured that the legacy of the profession is in your hands, and the excellence is to be ensured at each and every step. And the sky is the limit. At the same time, the sky is not the limit. You have to fly high and high. So by these words, I am sure that under the leadership of you people, we will keep on the flag of the profession higher at higher level, and of course, the flag of the nation at the highest level. So thank you very much, Ranjit Bhai, for giving the opportunity, and over to you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so very much, sir. We will now request CA Vishal Doshi ji, Council Member from Baroda, to kindly express his views.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to all the newly qualified chartered accountants, the young members of our institute. At the outset, I would like to compliment Ranjit Bhai, Chairman of this committee, and Raj Bhai, the Vice Chairman of this committee, for the excellent first round of the campus interviews that has taken place, and also thank them for increasing the number of small centers over the last campus, so that more and more students are able to get the opportunities for the campus placement. I would also recognize the presence of my council colleagues, Sri Priya ji and Gyan Bhai. And friends, I have seen the I would say the image, the invite, and see that you are going to have an excellent session after this, where you have 3 eminent speakers who would be sharing their experience and knowledge with you. You have CA Vineet Teredesai, CA for Mindtree. You have CA Manish Singhania ji, Finance Head of ArcelorMittal, and definitely CA Jaybhai Chaira, who is the past council member. So it's going to be a very interesting session for all of you. Friends, I would just at this point in time share a few thoughts that I have said. First is with respect to the interviews that would be conducted. And let me assure you that you have passed one of the most difficult courses, not only in the country, but I would say worldwide. And you have to be confident when you are giving or appearing for the interview. because I have seen, I also take many interviews, and I find that especially the young chartered accountants, they, at the back of their mind, they have some reservation, some fear that what would be asked, whether I would be evaluated properly and all those things. So my first request would be that interview, please appear with full confidence. And another thing I would say that if you do not know an answer, be very candid, because I've seen in interviews that there are the candidates who go around, beat around the bush and try to show that they know everything. And let me be very honest, that there is no person in this universe who would be knowing everything, right? So just be confident and answer whatever you know in the right earnest, with the right spirit, and with full confidence. I would also like to share that we are in our knowledge, I would say, is our power, I would say, is knowledge. And, because when we go for audits and everything, we say normally the greatest asset that we see in the financial statements is the property, plant, equipment. And I always say our property, plant, equipment is our knowledge. And so as fresh young chartered accountants, I would request that wherever you are in your career, wherever you settle down in future, continuous knowledge update is something that is very, very essential for us. Just like we always have to ensure that the plant and machinery is regularly serviced, for us also, similarly, continuous knowledge updation is something which is extremely important. Friends, we don't know, you don't know that where you would be in future, maybe 1 year, 2 years down the line, but wherever you are, whatever area you would be looking into, if you are specializing into finance, if you're specializing into direct tax, indirect tax, audit, whatever it might be, it's always important to keep yourself abreast, to keep yourself updated with whatever are the trends that are going on in your area of specialization, as well as a chartered accountant as a whole, which would be extremely important. And in addition to that, the technological advancements that are happening nowadays, that is also something that, there are small things on the technological front also, where you can contribute in your organization, and which can, I would say, make wonders and help you in your overall persona as well as your overall growth. So with these words, I would wish you all the very best for your upcoming campus placements, and also wishing you all the best for your careers ahead. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you so very much, sir. We now request C.A. Sri Priya Kumar, Council Member from Chennai, to kindly address our students. Thank you.
You are muted.
Good afternoon and namaste to everybody, especially to the chairman, Sri Ranjit Agarwal, C.A. Raj Chawla, C.A. Vishal Bhai Doshi, C.A. Gyanchand Mishra, the secretary of the committee, C.A. Rangaji and Shalini, whom I see on the screen. And most importantly, to all the young chartered accountants, the young freshly minted CAs. Here's a very, very hearty good afternoon to all of you. And it's at the outset, a huge round of congratulations for having passed the CA exams and becoming eligible for this interview. And in my personal opinion, I found very recently during an orientation program at Chennai, the very same people whom I had seen as students 10 days back before the results came, were so transformed after the results came. So that short span of time, that minute when you become a chartered accountant, I think all of us just grow tremendously in terms of our personality. I think this is the first thing that you must remember when you go for an interview. And as Vishal Bhai had also mentioned, just be very, very confident. You've been through one of the toughest exams. I think it's the toughest exam in the country. So I think you've got all the ammunition with you. All you just need to go is to just perform well in the interview and fire your weapons appropriately. Of course, just a few words only, and this is a time when you sort of want to share something. So if I were to just summarize a few things, I think the first thing is stay connected with ICI once you pass. A lot of us don't renew our membership. I think it'll be very nice if you can renew your membership, attend the CPE programs, and participate in the initiatives of the institute. I'm sure most of you will have access to your regional council members or Central Council members, become speakers, start supporting the institute in whatever little way you can. The second thing is, I think there's been a tremendous amount of change that's happening every day. So if you see, there has been quite a few amendments in the Companies Act. Everything is changing every day. So don't kindly think that, okay, I've gotten into a job and then I can forget everything else. Please read the papers. Please keep looking at the key websites, etc. So the important thing is to stay hungry and stay curious. You must want to know broadly what's happening around you. And this will be important for you personally and professionally also. A third thing is, I think you should share what you know. For instance, Vishal Bhai runs a series called VI where he shares knowledge with the rest of the fraternity. Gyan Bhai, Raj Bhai, everybody. We're all out in the public domain trying to share whatever we know. So in your little WhatsApp groups, whatever, etc., anything that you find professionally coming across new or that's interesting, please try and write about it and share with the rest of the fraternity to sort of turn out to be great professionals. The fourth thing is, it's very different from the time people like, Vishal Bhai, Gyan Bhai, or Raj Bhai, or Ranjit Bhai and I passed. Today, everybody is talking about work-life balance. I think the next 3 to 5 years, please don't hesitate to work even 16 to 18 hours. This is the period of immense learning. So don't say, I want my Saturday, Sundays off, etc. This is the time when you don't have the pressure to study for an exam. And all of us whom I see on the screen here, I'm sure at some point in time, we've put in our 18-hour work days, etc. So when you go for this interview, just be very, very open to working. I think it's a lovely phase, no responsibility. You get your salary checks, nobody to tell you to study. I think make use of it. And the last thing that I'd like to propose is largely for the women members. There will come a point in time in your life when you might want to say, look, this is too much for me, so I want to quit my job and I don't want to do anything. Taking such short breaks is fine. But as a woman, one thing I find is, you just don't work only for the money. I mean, some of us may need it, so we'll tend to be in employment. But I think, just imagine, God has put you in this place, you have passed this exam. I think it's important for us to stay professionally connected. It could be a large job, it could be a small job, whatever it is. My sincere appeal to the women, a lot of us are passing today. 50% of our students are women. 20% of the CAs are women. But how many of them continue in employment, and why don't we continue? So my only request is try and synthesize whatever you're doing in your life to just stay a little bit professionally connected. Because I think even the little that you do in terms of your professional contribution at a later date will be very important for this country. And the last small input I have is, at all times, please stay ethical. Even in very small situations to large situations, all of you, I'm sure, are going to become CEOs and CFOs at some time. You must have the biggest courage in this world is the courage to say no. A lot of us sort of feel a little shy about doing it. Don't be shy. If you think what you're standing for is right, be the single person in the room who will object to something not correct happening to say a no. So with these few words, wishing you all the very, very best once again. And once again, my congratulations to the chairman and vice chairman of the committee who have made this possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, madam. May I request our vice chairman of the committee for members in industry and business, CA Dr. Raj Chawla ji, to kindly address the audience. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Rangaji. Good afternoon to all the members attending this our orientation program, as well as our Central Council member and Rangaji. And first of all, I want to congratulate all our newly qualified members who are going to appear in this campus placement, and my best wishes for all of you. And I am thankful to the chairman and president and vice president of our ICI and chairman of my committee for member in industry and business for their initiative that they have increased the number of smaller center by 6 more than total 18, and also they have increased the minimum salary from 6 lakhs to 9 lakhs. So my good wishes to the Chairman sir for this initiative. Friends, I want to tell you one thing, that be positive always. As Shripriya madam always also told you, that be positive always, because in life there will be various situations where you have to decide the things. So always think positive, because your thought process will be your destiny will be positive. There is a saying that watch your thought, that become your word, and watch your word, that become your action, and watch your action, that become your habit, and watch your habit, that become your character, and watch your character, that become your destiny. So always have positive thoughts. Either you are selected or not selected, always be thankful to God. There may be the situation that God may reserve for you some good things. So always be positive. And with this, I am thankful to my chairman, Sri Ranjit Agarwal ji from Calcutta, for giving me this opportunity to say thank you to all the members attending. I am also thankful to CA Vishal Doshi ji from Vadodara. I am thankful to CA Shripriya Kumar ji from Chennai. I am thankful to CA Gyan Mishra ji from Ghaziabad, and big thanks to Ranganathan ji and Shalini ji for organizing this program. So thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so very much, sir, for a wonderful inaugural session. Sir, we have our first speaker already, but then sir, session is supposed to begin at 2:45. So we are a little early in beginning, sir. I request the chairman, sir, if you think appropriate, sir, you may kindly address the audience about the other initiatives that we have, sir.
Oh, I think we have been joined by the first speaker, Vinit sir. So we can start the technical session. If any council member join in between, we can have the opportunity to listen to them also. So we can start the proceeding with the Vinit ji.
Very well, sir. Thank you so much, sir. And thank you all the dignitaries for the inaugural session. So good afternoon, CA Vinit Desai ji. He is a CFO in Mindtree. And sir, we are right away beginning with your session, sir. The virtual dice is yours. Thank you, sir.
Can we, Salini, can we introduce Vinit sir?
Yes, sir. I would like to welcome CA Vinit Desai, who will be taking today's first technical session on Count Your Opportunities. He is a finance professional with 27 years experience working in technology and manufacturing sector. He is working in senior leadership position as CFO with extensive diverse experience in financial planning and analysis, corporate finance, accounting, auditing, treasury, international and domestic taxation, building and scaling shared services, corporate restructuring, merger and acquisition, compliance, legal, procurement, capacity building and administration. Currently, he is working as CFO Mindtree Limited. Welcome, sir. Welcome, sir. Now the virtual dice is yours, sir.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to all the distinguished members on the panel. And thank you for the Institute to provide me this opportunity. When I was being asked to join this session, honestly, I have not prepared any slide deck because I like to speak out of my heart, honestly. If I speak with a slide, that means there is a predefined agenda, which I don't think is the purpose of this session. The intent here is to sort of guide and give my 2 cents of wisdom to all the newly qualified chartered accountants who are now going to enter either the practice field or the corporate field, or probably something else also. Chartered accountant qualification does not only open up opportunities only in the finance function, it opens up opportunities in many other areas. So wishing all of you, first of all the best in terms of whatever career opportunities you want to pursue. Just let me start with, I'm sure all of you would have heard this statement called as, you have to be at the right time, at the right place for the right opportunity. It sounds like a very, somebody made a grand some celebrity making a grand statement at some point of time. And honestly, nobody realized that it is so true in the real world. But how does this being at the right time, at the right place, at the right opportunity, what does that mean? Does that mean that if there are out of let's say millions of jobs that are created, there are only handful of jobs which really take you or provide you that ladder to sort of climb up uh, uh, to the path of success? Uh, I think so. The answer to that, based on my experience, has been you have to keep your along with the tagline of saying that you have to be there at the right time, at the right place for the right opportunity. You have to also have another proverb which is very, very important. You have to keep your eyes, ears, and mind very much open in terms of spotting those opportunities. There are only probably single-digit people who will be handful, whereby some opportunities will be brought to their table and they have to grab it. But in real life, it doesn't happen. That typically happens in the cinemas. That doesn't happen in the real life. You have to actually spot those opportunities, and spot those opportunities. Sometimes, you have to the opportunities, when we say that they are really good, sometimes they are very dark opportunities. When I say dark, it does not mean any negativity. What it means is, at the prima facie level, they don't appear to be attractive. And I'll give an example in my life where I went through some of these opportunities. I was working with in my initial days in one of the manufacturing company. And at that point of time, the Indian accounting standards were not as progressed as they are today. And everybody was looking at, everybody used to consider that Indian accounting standards are a little bit less inferior. And the global accounting standards are, the ones that need to, they are the sort of the Bible of the world. And everybody wanted to reinstate their financials at that point of time to those globally accepted accounting principles. And at that point of time, we have somebody asked the company which I was working on, they were planning to looking at one of the potential opportunities of getting their shares or the ADRs listed on one of the American exchanges. And the opportunity came basically on my table, apart from managing my day-to-day job, to basically reinstate the financials. Let me also tell you that at that point of time, the personal computers had just come on the way. The Excel, as you see today, was not as modern as what it was. So you have to virtually do some sort of coding in order to make things happen. And at that point of time, this opportunity came, and I was playing a role into the investment section, and whereby, the whole reinstatement of the financials, you have to pick up each and every security. You have to classify it, whether it was held to maturity, whether it was classified as available for sale. And then based on the premium or discount and the nature of that security, you have to go and reinstate that opportunity. It was a quite tedious task. You have to we had to struggle day and night. I remember once I came at 7:30 in the morning and left the next day evening at 7:30. So 36 hours consistently we worked without taking a sleep. So that was the nature of the complexity. Not very people were enthusiastic because of that. Not very people were very well versed with that opportunity at that point of time. And but I just said, let me do it, because it was a new learning for me. And that opportunity basically gave two important sort of openings in my life. One, it gave me a visibility amongst the top management that this guy has some potential to do and understands probably the global accounting standards slightly better than all of us. So that was so we had to debate and constantly, get a interaction with the senior management to tell this is the right way, this is how the standard should be interpreted. It gives that visibility and the platform to sort of speak and interact with the senior finance professionals in my company, plus the auditors, etc. And secondly, it also gave me an opportunity to really think about that. can I go ahead and pursue an international degree at that point of time? It was not easy. Financially, we were not as well compensated as probably what all of us probably will get compensated today. So we had to go to, I had to go to US. There was no syllabus. There was no defined program. I used to watch some CDs, do the study and solve the examples, etc., and went and appeared for the exam. I cleared that exam. But the point I'm trying to articulate out of this is that when prima facie somebody gave that opportunity, a lot of people sort of backed off also from that because they didn't have an understanding. They understood it's a quite tedious thing. You needed someone, who could spare that extra time. Being a youngster at that point of time, which all of you are, it would have given you all of your, these sort of opportunities will come on your way, particularly in the initial years. Grab them with both the hands. Don't say no, because apart from your CA qualification, which is an entry advantage, the rest is all going to be about how you're able to display and apply all your learnings and get variety of experiences in your life, which are going to, take care of you for a longer period of time. The more diverse experience you have, the more acceptability you will have as you progress throughout your career. Which brings me to the second point about, what some of the things which I picked up, and there are no right and wrong things, but just I wanted to give. You need to make a choice over a period of time, not in the initial days, but after, say, next 2 to 3 years, all of you, once you get some amount of relevant experience, is you need to make a choice between whether you want to be a generalist or a specialist. And let me classify what do you mean by being a generalist versus a specialist. As a part of our finance career, there are certain tracks and options. Like, for example, if you decide to pursue career in taxation, for example, or if you decide to pursue career in internal audit, and I'm not saying they are bad, okay? Don't mistake me for any reason. Please remember, you need to spend a good amount of time. These are deep knowledge domains within the finance function, whereby you need to have an understanding. Today, I won't call myself as a tax expert. I can understand the broader level, but the minute details in terms of the words, the interpretation, some of the case laws, all of these things need more than 100% dedication, and you need to get it into your root and heart in order to love this. These are all specialist functions within the industry. They are good, nothing bad you need, because the industry needs this specialist. There's nothing wrong with that. And it all is a personal choice. But remember, if you have an aspiration at some point of time that you want to enter the boardroom and you want to be into the C-level career, then probably these are areas which can sort of limit your career or limit your potential to enter the boardroom. I'm not saying limit your career. Limit your career is probably a wrong word, but they can potentially be the sort of showstoppers if you want to think about entering this boardroom. Because in the boardroom, what is required? When I enter a boardroom today as a finance professional, I don't enter it as a finance professional. I enter as a business professional. You need to align yourself with business very, very closely. You need to have a 360-degree view of what you are doing, how the business is being managed, what are the challenges of the business, and how you are able to provide and articulate your solution to the rest of the board in order to ensure that certain approvals or certain consents that are needed through as a part of the business structuring, they are able to go through. If you're a specialist, you tend, and this is generally what happens, is you tend to speak a lot of what we call what the board or the external world calls it, a lot of technical language, technical jargons, they call it. Whereby you will go and tell them a rule, you will go and tell them a specific section, you will try to go to the minute. Nothing wrong again, but the business is more interested in looking at the broader problem and what is the solution to solve that problem. Yes, there are technical and compliances that need to be taken care, but they expect tomorrow a person like you, if you are into that specialist role, not to throw those compliances as a problem, but also tell what is the solution to get out of the problem. Sometimes there are conflicts. There are sometimes mismatches in terms of the expectation. So even if you are into a technical sort of remember, never approach your management or your seniors with a problem statement. Always go tell a problem statement, provide 2 or 3 alternative solutions to solve that problem, and also make an important point to tell which one of that solution you prefer is the right one from a business perspective. If you are able to articulate these 3 points together, the way people will look at you will be someone as a problem solver and not as a person who is bringing the problems on the table. There are laws. We all do compliances. There is no second thoughts about not complying with what the regulations needs us to do. But at the same time, there are also business requirements. And remember, none of the laws, none of the regulations have ever are defined to create blockages for your businesses. They are always created with an intent to sort of ensure there are guardrails. They are more of guardrails to ensure something doesn't go wrong from a structural perspective. So remember always this in point. Whenever you are given a problem, always go with the problem, provide 2 or 3 alternatives to solve that problem, and also ensure that you are in a position to sort of tell which one of that solution is a better solution. Because then people know that you are not thinking just in technical terms, but you are also thinking from a business perspective. This is one of the very, very important thing ever in your life. Whichever company you go, if you try to be too specialist, too technical, you're sort of limiting your career path. So what we call ourselves as a business, when I say business professionals, is someone who is a problem solver and not someone who is a problem thrower. You should not throw problems at people. You should try to solve those problems. And that's how you will gain respect. You will make progress in your career. Third, I would now come to the point which I mentioned earlier is stay closer to the business. The point about being generalist versus specialist. The people who are generalist are typically the ones who sort of work as a finance professional, whether it's a business finance, whether it's a part of financial planning analysis, whether it's a part of mergers, acquisitions, investor relations. All of these are something which are very, very closer to the business. And these structures of being closer to the business are something what I call it as a generalist function, because you're not the expert in everything, but you know the key parts of whatever are the things that are needed for the success of the business. And those are the things that you need to constantly, the business people will recognize you and it will open up opportunities for you. If in your life you get an opportunity to work internationally, don't just join don't take that opportunity only because it's an international opportunity. Join that because you're also able to understand the cultures and the working styles of the different people present in the different sets of the world. I'll give another example in this and this is not a criticism to we being an Indians. We are all proud Indians, but we typically we as an Indian people have a ability to do a lot of coffee chats, and we spend almost like every 1 hour, 2 hour, we need those caffeine breaks whereby we'll go to either a nearby tea stall and have that grapevine discussions we all enjoy. It's okay to have those discussions because they keep you the healthy mood. They are also tell you the vibe of the organization. But at the same time, don't try to get too much involved into that. Half of that is sometimes crap. Half of that sometimes can be also a defined agenda to sort of gauge which side of the organization you are. So you never know what's the political agenda someone is trying to drive out and feeding it to the different people. But try to spend more time in terms of creative structure. Today, technology is to all of your benefit. It was not necessarily to our benefit in my at least early days of my career. Take that advantage, learn technology, learn, understand business. Every business today has a technology as a backbone, and try to ensure that you're able to come out with some creative thinking. My personal view is that your mind is either creative or destructive. So if your mind is not, if you are that sort of a professional who has hunger in the belly to constantly need some what we call it as a constant feed to the brain for some creative engagement, if that feed doesn't come, your mind starts becoming destructive, and then you start doing wrong things, your thinking goes wrong, you start committing mistakes. So always try to ensure that you are doing something creative. Nothing is impossible in this world. I don't believe that. You have to only keep on sort of implementing and sort of experimenting with some of the things to come out with those creative ideas. And those creative ideas are going to help you in terms of how do you articulate. So coming to the point about generalist versus specialist, moving to the next point is staying closer to the business. Staying closer to the business is very important. Any organization, manufacturing, services, IT, technology, products, pharmaceuticals, whatever organization, understand the business very well. So if you're working in a two-wheeler manufacturing company, as I was working in the past, don't call it as saying I'm working with a, if I say, do you know what business is your company? Don't say that my company manufactures two-wheelers. That's not what the business is meant. Try to understand what the company is doing and how is it laying down its technological map in terms of, what is it thinking in terms of its product line? How is it thinking about upgrading its product? What sort of changes are happening in the ecosystem, either via of regulation, either in form of innovations that are going to change the industry and the perspective. Your company might be in one of the most prominent positions, market position, but if the technology is changing in a different direction and your company is not up to the mark, you can read those signs and sort of try to help the organization in terms of giving the inputs wherever possible, in terms of trying to change the direction and bringing it back on track. This is what I call it as staying closer to the business. If you understand that, and if you stay close to the business, you have a very, very high chance of getting into a lot of boardroom positions, directly in a form of either as a CFO or even in a form of a non-CFO position. Remember, the board of any company has, and particularly companies which are professionally run companies, there are only 2 or 3 agendas at a broader level. One, how can we grow their organization at a market leading pace? Number 2, how can their products and services make lives of their customer much easier and better? And third, obviously, is the company is into the business for making profits. So is it making sufficient amount of profits and having a sufficient amount of cash flows and balance sheet, strong balance sheet to support the growth and the dominant position it is trying to achieve? So staying close to the business, understanding the business is one of the very, very key factors if you are particularly looking at a career to take yourself to the boardroom or to the C-level position. These are opportunities which in the normal course of business, if you don't carefully choose, you tend to sort of stick and become a specialist. Again, nothing wrong with that. Jobs will continue. Specialist jobs have their importance in the organization, but they have a limitations in terms of probably taking your career to the boardroom, beyond the boardroom level or to the business level. That's the only difference. And it's a choice you have to make. Don't make that choice in the first 2 to 3 years, but definitely as you complete 2 to 3 years of your life, professional life, ensure that you make this conscious decision and a constant change. You have to sometimes ask for it. that I would like to be more, do a role which is business focused, or I want to do a job which is more technical domain focused. Another thing which I can also tell you is life is all, when you enter your professional life, your life, don't assume that it's always going to go in one way. You will have your ups and downs in your life. Sometimes those ups and downs come at a time when you don't want, when you are not probably anticipating them, or they come at the time where you least expect them. And they strike with a vengeance. It can be a career limiting move. It can be out of the reason that nothing out of your fault can happen, because your organization goes in a different direction, or organization gets sold to a different organization. Sometimes your organization is not, it can go in a negative way, or the eco-political system changes, that basically changes the fortunes of your organization. So many factors can cause it. And how do you navigate during this period of time? Remember, there are only 2 or 3 principles. If you ever enter this, you will enter. I'm not saying that you will never enter. You will enter. Everybody will have their fair share of successes and not so successful days in your career. And at that point of time, please remember few things which I have learned at the part of it. Don't get disappointed. It's very easy to say for me, but in reality, you have to practice and ensure positivity around it. And what are a few things you can do at that point of time? Let's say you are, I never wish that any one of you should face this problem, but let's assume that you enter a situation whereby you lose a job at some point of time, right? Let's take a hypothetical situation. Yes, it's a very sad thing. It's a raw thing. What do you do in that period of time? First of all, don't lose the confidence on you. Particularly if that job loss is not on your account, if it has happened something to your organization, then there is nothing wrong with you. You know, some organizations just unfortunately go wrong. In that period, try to sharpen your skills. Try to look at yourself. Try to put yourself in front of a mirror and try to understand what are the things which are lagging me. Why would someone reject me today if I want to get a job? Just because my company has closed down or company has gone through bad days and I have lost a job, that will not be a disqualification for you if you have the right talent and the right attitude and the right perspective to take on new opportunity. It's just a question of few bad days here and there. Second thing, I think so, which is very important, which I think so again you'll have to practice very consciously, is stay outside the negative circle. And when I say, what do you mean by that negative circle? I'm sure when you were doing your chartered accountancy, there must be a set of people who, as you climb the ladder of success by clearing the exam, there are a certain set of people who would probably have not cleared the exam for multiple attempts. And, you know, they sort of tend to form that negative group around it, whereby they will keep on saying, oh, the paper was hard, or this time the evaluation was hard. They will try to find out excuses for failure. And this negative toxic group is not going to do any good to you. Similarly, even in this sort of a period, you know, there will be certain set of people who will sort of say, you know, yeah, you know, they are sort of typical critical people. They will always look half glass empty rather than looking at half glass full. And they will constantly try to talk negative, spread the negativity, blame someone else for their problems. And, you know, your mindset also starts becoming that way in a negative fashion. Today, technology can be a big companion for you, whereby you can watch videos of the people who inspire you, who infuse a lot of positivity around you. So, you know, it's very easy to sort of demarcate yourself. They might be your best friends, they might be your best family members, it can be anyone. And they will tell you why failure is normal and acceptable, while, you know, it's not easy, and it's not the right thing to say that failure is acceptable. Failure should not be acceptable. Failure, from my perspective, is something only a learning opportunity. It's acceptable only if you are going to learn from the mistakes out of it. It's acceptable only if you are going to improve yourself from that. It's going to be acceptable only if it is going to change the direction of your life. So sometimes the failures in your life will come in different forms at different points of time when you, as I said, probably at the time when you least need them, or you're probably climbing the success. Try to bring this positivity by sharpening your skills, staying within the positive circle who actually inspire you, tell you positively what to do, rather than trying to stay within that toxic circle, what we call today. Even when somebody is leaving the organization, there is a tendency to sort of talk negative and create negativity around, saying, oh, my project manager is not doing well, this project is bad, the company is bad, blah, blah, blah. And they will try to sort of infuse that negativity. Instead of that, we try to isolate these people and try to ensure that there is a positivity around it. So always remember, sharpen your skills in a bad period. Look up to the people who will infuse more confidence. Learn what you went wrong. Is it because of your own mistakes, or is it because of your organization mistakes? And what are those mistakes you should not be committing in your life? Let's be clear. Don't ever assume that you will not face failures. Failures and failures sometimes can be in a different form, whereby you sort of get stagnated in your career. You're just not making progress in your life. And then you start realizing that some of your peers are going into the new heights, and you are probably not getting those opportunities. Those sort of positive infusions during this negative period of time are going to make and define whether you will have a further successful career or not. Another area which I feel, which typically is lagging amongst the new individuals is what we call as the stakeholder management. And when I say stakeholder management, it does not mean just pleasing your superior seniors. Okay, don't take it wrong. Today, when you are working as a finance professional, there are different people at different points of time who are basically your stakeholders. They can be your peers, they can be your seniors, they can be your external customers, they can be your vendors. You have to always ensure that you have a positive connect with them. And when I say by having a positive connect with them, it does not mean pleasing them every time. It means you have to ensure that there is a dialogue. Even if you are to have a negative conversation with them, it has a positive twist to it. You are able to explain and articulate your point of view in a positive way, rather than trying to throw a company policy or a jargon behind them, because that is the last thing which people will judge you. When the crisis strikes, people are always going to judge you about how you treat them. So let's say tomorrow a company has to, let's say, lay off people. If a company just picks up and brings you in a corner room and sort of dumps you with a letter, the company is not a very doing a positive way of connecting with them. That employee will never work with this company ever. But if you give that sympathetic attitude, if you try to ensure that you explain what has led to this sort of a situation, it's unfortunate, but we have landed ourselves into that situation. We will try to see if we can bounce back, and you will be the first employee who will be one whom we'll try to hire. That positive dialogue changes the same communication and makes that person loyal to you or to your organization in a way. So remember, have that positivity in your communication, so that whenever someone has to speak about you, they will say, yes, I can tell you that this person will tell you the right thing, even in a tough thing, in a right way. You had at the end of the day, remember, some of the decisions in the organizations are based on perceptions also. Sometimes I know you by for a short span of time, have a short interaction, and I create an image in my mind. If that image is not corrected at the right time, I carry that image in my mind. And then when a decision has to be made, I have that thinking in my mind that, oh, this person is either good or bad, whatever it is. It can be I become biased. So it's always good to ensure that that positive connect with all your stakeholders is consistently met and maintained, so that in a bad time, particularly, obviously in a good time, they will remember you, but even in a bad time, you are remembered in a far, far better fashion. Next thing which I want to also articulate is, one thing which as a chartered accountancy, as a profession, doesn't teach you well, and with no disrespect to the institute, is what we call it as a self-marketing. We as a professionals are taught not to self-market, but and I don't mean that you have to go and constantly blow your trumpet, but you have to also ensure that you are able to articulate your point in a very, very positive way and ensure that your achievements are well noticed. Whether it means in terms of doing the right amount of sort of taking help from the corporate comms team, communications team, in ensuring that your achievements are very well defined and made known to the respective stakeholders so that they take a notice of it. Sometimes some guy does a job in the whole function, and if it is not articulated to the right set of people, the credit, it becomes more of a finance function credit rather than that individual person's credit. So always remember that you should be able to do some amount of self-marketing, and you should be able to play on your achievements, positive achievements, and be able to take an advantage and ensure that they reach the right set of audience so that people remember you, that this is something that you have contributed to the success. Yes, it is always a team success, no doubts about it, but there has to be someone who has originated and thought about that and taken an initiative to implement about that. Honestly, I'll give another example in my career that's as recent as a couple of years back. I was working with a company and they were undergoing a merger and a demerger. And honestly, it was one of the unique transactions in the whole industry in terms of how it was being structured. A very, very carefully thought, very well defined structure, but very difficult to implement. A private organization was going to become public, and a public organization was going to split into another company and get listed again. So it was a very, very unique organization. And when I joined, I just knew that this transaction is happening. I had no clue about how this transaction was going to be executed. But as I started getting into that role, I started taking initiatives. I started having curiosity in terms of asking questions, then sort of creating an environment of someone, creating an image and taking that initiative to ensure that people come to me with an expectation that I will be a problem solver and not a problem definer, the point I made earlier. And eventually I got a chance to own that entire transaction and execute it. It was not defined in that way, but it happened accidentally in that way. And I took a pleasure that I was doing my regular job and I was able to do this unique execution of this unique transaction of merging, demerging, and able to sort of take it to its intent, what was being defined. It remains one of the sort of a feather in my career, because you don't get these transactions on day-to-day basis. Every day the company doesn't go through a process of merger and demerger. So this was a unique transaction. You got an opportunity. You got I grabbed it with both hands. I ensured that I take all the stakeholders together. My job was not to give my 2 cents of wisdom on it. My job was basically to get all the stakeholders, all the people who were responsible, bring them together, put a structure, put a plan, ensure that the plan is being executed. There were hurdles that came on between, but my job was to basically provide a solution and not take them and say, okay, this is going to delay, this is going to be the problem. Once you enter the executive role, in my role of a chief financial officer, I cannot throw problems. I have to provide solutions. That's what my company has hired me for. The company has not hired me for telling me what the problems are. The company has hired me for providing solutions to the problems. And whether they are structural problems, they are what you call it as jugaad problems, because sometimes you have to take the unorthodox methods of solving the problems. So all of these things together have to be implemented, and you get these opportunities. and you should be in a position to ensure that you are able to self-market yourself also about the opportunities. And that self-marketing is not to say I'm great. That's not the intent, but self-marketing is for the purpose of ensuring that the right stakeholders know that you are the ones who solved that problem. You are the ones who they called when they faced a problem. And what they found within that, the approach of a problem solver and not of a problem teller. That's the very important point of time which I wanted to articulate and tell you. Last point, which I just wanted to say, which is more of an extension. One of the things which all of you need to understand is whichever set of business or organization you are in, try to align yourself with the culture of the organization. It's a very, again, difficult thing than what it says. If you are not able to align with the set of that culture of the organization, then you are a misfit within that organization, and whatever you do, you'll always see that there are the success that should be coming on your way is always restricted. Whether it's the language, whether it's the way of operating, whether it's the way of how it should be. Yes, if you believe that the cultural change has to be brought, try to attempt to change the culture, but step by step. Don't try to change it from being traditionally, let's say, a family-driven Indian organization to try to make it an American organization. Don't try to do that. It won't happen. But if you believe that there are good things about some other organizations that you can take and sort of try to implement, slowly take initiatives, tell what's the rationale, build up your case, take a consensus, build some support around you for that case, and try to do it. And for that, important thing is your communication, articulation. You will be, I'm sure all of you will be presenting over a period of time, preparing into a lot of decks, presentation decks. Keep one thing in mind. Nobody's interested in your verbiage in that decks. Half of the times, those verbiage don't get read. So don't try to be too technical. Try to be crisp and clear in terms of your presentation. Try to be pictorial wherever possible, because picture speaks far. Almost it has an impact of 1,000 times than you putting 10 words in that deck. Try to ensure that, again, set the context, put the problem statement, provide a solution, and also tell which one solution is the preferred one, with obviously the reasoning behind. This is one of the important factor if you don't get onto this. So you need to know good tactics of making presentation, preparing presentation, but also it's important to know of a knack of also delivering presentations, that confidence in terms of your articulation, confidence in terms of how do you speak. Remember, some of your stakeholders may not like too much talking. So be crisp in that. Look at your audience. Who is your audience, and try to ensure that you modify your presentation that way. Some people need a detailed backup. Yes, the detailed backup can be in a form of an extra slides, but it doesn't necessarily need to be in the form of the main slides. So a person should know that you have done enough research and you are trying to cut to the chase and make your point very, very crisp and clear. It's a very, very important success factor, particularly if you're going to work in the corporate field. If you don't get this right, you probably are going to lag behind, despite of you probably having probably technically superior advantage. Sorry, I said last point, but probably also one more point I wanted to add. In your career, while I have changed jobs, I'm not denying, and I'm not saying that was the wrong thing or anything to do, change jobs, but change jobs for making a career change and not job changes. Every time a change in your job profile has to result into a value add. It should not happen that you move from company A to company B, doing the same job, and in one company your title was senior executive finance, and next company your title was probably assistant manager finance. If you're going to continue doing the same job, you're not making a career progress, you're making a job growth. And job changes at some point of time try to put a sort of a spanner in the wheel, trying to stall your career. They might turn out, they are like, sometimes, they give you a feeling of a short-term victory, whereby you're making progress, your salary is increasing, your title is becoming better, it's a larger organization, but then at some point of time you realize that you're really not made progress. Somebody will come and say it in blunt terms to you. Hey, you have been doing this job for donkey years. You're not learned anything, or you don't know anything beyond this. So remember, always make career changes. Don't make job changes. Job changes are easy. Job changes are glamorous. Job changes are sometimes very short-sighted decisions. And career decisions, they are not necessarily glamorous, but they definitely help you in terms of making a long-term career progress in your life. That's what I would say. I would like to sort of end myself in terms of not trying to bore you beyond a point, but these have been few learnings of my life. I practice them. I still have that hunger in my belly. I want to do more. I don't claim myself that I know everything. I do believe there is probably I need one more life to sort of learn a lot of things which are still there. I have to read a lot of good books. Keep on practicing. Don't get demoralized by the failures. Failures are sometimes important for you to keep yourself grounded. So accept failures with grace, and do some amount of self-marketing. Make a choice between a generalist or a specialist. Nothing wrong with either one of them. Just you have to understand what career change you want, what career objective you want to achieve. Stay closer to your business, understand your business very, very closely. And most importantly, articulate yourself in front of the stakeholders with a problem-solving attitude, not with a problem-throwing attitude. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Vinitji, for your very nice and very effective deliberation. I think the advice you have given to the youngster are very, very meaningful, and if they apply in their working life, which they are going to start, they will be hugely benefited, because the kind of word you have said, be practical, don't only focus on the technicality, but be a problem solver instead of the problematic yourself. And rightly, all the corporate house needs a solution provider, not a problem creator. And for that, there is no price, because for solution provider, price is immaterial, because the kind of complexity of the corporate house we are living. So thank you very much for giving your thought process, sharing your knowledge with the youngster. All these freshly qualified CAs are there, which they are going to be recruited by the various corporate house in next week. So thank you very much for your time and your sharing your knowledge and your thought process with the young chartered accountant. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ranjitji. Thank you very much.
We have been joined by another speaker, Manish Singhania ji, and welcome Manish ji on this orientation program of newly qualified chartered accountant of the Institute of Chartered Accountant. I request Salini, if she is there, to please introduce Manish ji, and so that he can start his deliveries.
Yeah. I would like to first thank CA Vinit sir for sharing his experiences and enlightening young chartered accountants. And really grateful to you, sir, for your motivational talk that will surely help our young talent to face the interviews at smaller center with more confidence. Really grateful to you, sir. Now, I would like to welcome CA Manish Singhania, who will be taking today's second technical session on making smart career choices. CA Manish Singhania is a fellow member of the Institute, qualified chartered accountancy in May 1997 with 21st All India ranking. He has extensive experience of more than 25 years in advising and consulting greenfield projects as well as in manufacturing setup in steel, non-ferrous metals, power and textile. He's a triplet member in finance fraternity and member of all three institutes, ICAI, ICMAI and ICSI. Currently, he is working as finance head Arcelor Mittal Nippon Steel India. Welcome, sir. Now the virtual dice is yours.
Thank you, Shalini. So I very well welcome to all newly qualified chartered accountants on the day of today's auspicious day of Vishwakarma Jayanti. And Vishwakarma ji, Bhagwan Vishwakarma ji is known as the creator of the world. And we chartered accountants are also known as a financial engineers. And we are proud of the being partner on the national making in the national building exercise, which is being undertaken. So, and I would say, yes, technology has provided us the platform where we can reach to all of you chartered accountants by using this platform, which was not available few years back, and most of the people were going on. Yeah. So, CA Vineet Saab has extensively covered and given his experienced pearls of wisdom to all of you. So in today's my session, I would try to articulate or more further on the things, how to make the better career choice when you go for the company's interviews. So first of all of you friends, young chartered accountants, first of all, congratulations to all of you. All of you are now the part of the world's largest accounting fraternity, 3 lakhs plus chartered accountants, strong body, which is emerging strong and which is getting more and more recognition world over. I would say our predecessors, forefathers, when they started, our beloved institute was founded in before 1947, even before charter in independence. And within the 75 years, things have changed drastically and they have in positive manner. And all of you have qualified and become the part of this institute in the era when our country, India, is now 5th largest economy in the world. And secondly, one of our beloved Indian, now he's the second richest person into the world. So we can see, yes, the era is progress. Next era, which is available for you in career, is very prosperous and provide a lot of opportunity to all of you to prosper in your career. So when you completed chartered accountancy and your result came in mid-July 2022, so kaisa laga aapko? What was your feeling? I know it's a virtual session, it's not physical session, so of course I cannot see and see your feelings. So probably your feelings. So I tried to define. So probably your feelings. Yes, it was a matter of pride. For all of you who has logged lot of years unrelentingly and assuming into chartered accountancy. I know I have also gone through the process. You also have gone through the process. Aapke peers, friends who were engaged, who were enjoying the college life, that time definitely all of you were struggling into the ensuring that you complete your articleship as well as slog the times into articleship and learning the practical experience, as well as sharpening your theoretical knowledge and going through the vast syllabus of the chartered accountancy and ensuring that it is completed in time. Of course, it was a matter, must have been matter for joy for everybody. और satisfaction तो मुझे लगता है 100% सबको हुआ कि finally after 3 years or maybe some few of you who might have taken a much longer period, but finally even today also it is touted world's largest toughest examination जब भी आपने enter किया होगा, definitely in your family, your friend circle, your relatives, everybody, and a lot of people who must have gone into different streams. Everybody must have said, yeah, chartered accountancy. इसमें what is the comfort, what is the confidence when it will complete it? Uncertainty बहुत है. So satisfaction definitely हर person को हुआ होगा. Yes, few of you might have surprised also. अरे मेरा तो पेपर खराब हुआ था यार, but I qualified. Gratitude, yes, definitely. आपने your teachers, your mentors, your principals, and of course, most importantly, your family, who have stood with you over this period, the journey of becoming chartered accountant. Definitely, I'm sure this type of feeling has been for all of yours. तो आपने सबने इतना पीरियड निकाला, इस पूरे 3 साल इतने लंबी जर्नी की, जब उस दिन जब कंप्लीट हुआ सीए आपका, सेलिब्रेट कैसे किया? Yes, many of you have done the party, क्योंकि फ्रेंड्स के साथ काफी टाइम से मिलना ही नहीं हो पाया होगा, तो डेफिनेटली सबने आप लोगों ने पार्टी डेफिनेटली की ही होगी. फैमिली वेकेशन, और मुझे लगता है 100% you and your family might have sacrificed the vacations, and of course during the COVID period also, because there was restriction of physical movements. So definitely there are new terms which has come up. So vacations, all of you must have enjoyed. So you might have enjoyed. Family get together definitely हुआ ही होगा. And yes, few of us who have believed into the God, definitely for giving thanks and putting gratitude, probably you might have gone to the holy shrine also. So it's almost 2 months once result has been announced. Now you are chartered accountant almost 2 months back. Ab kya? What next? Yes, you have become chartered accountant, you have qualified chartered accountancy examination. Next kya karna hai? Now you people have started with kya karna hai in life, what has to be done. These are tough decisions. Yes, all of you must be feeling, yes, these are the tough decisions. So what CA, aap CA ban gaye hain, you have all become chartered accountant. How do you feel? What is your feeling? आपको क्या लगता है कि as a chartered accountant जो दो word आपके नाम के आगे जुड़ गए CA, what it means? What is important of that? Have they changed their life so far? I would quote when our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, when he visited our institute on 1st July 2019, sorry. That time, while speaking to addressing to entire August gathering, he mentioned, chartered accountant is mightier than even the PM. आप में चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट की पेन में जो शक्ति है, पावर द चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट्स कैरी, इट इज इनॉर्मस. सो this is the achievement, accomplishment you have, all of you have attained. Not only this profession, these 2 letters opens up a lot of unlimited opportunities for all of you. Be into the career path, be the social, of course, social status also gets changed, because now everybody, and I share my view, my experience. When I completed chartered accountancy 25 years back, and I still today remember my father, one day he came and said with proudly, now it's mohalle mein, in my society, in our people know me by your name. Yes, his son is chartered accountant. So definitely the social status gets changed or liberated, uplifted, and you might have also felt in last 2 months how these things have changed. As I mentioned, now we are in the world with infinite opportunity. So lot of opportunity, unprofessional growth opportunities given open for a few. Chartered accountancy has given our profession institute qualification is recognized across the world. So it gives global recognition and reach. Lot of multiple and diverse career choices, which we probably, when I qualified more than 25 years back, probably we did not have that much of career choices. Today, which I will explain during my next slides, now the profession provides lot of opportunities are available to finance professionals where they can excel and they can get the successes. Yes, lot of our esteemed members are part of mainstream politics and government. Presently, Piyush Goyal ji, he is part of cabinet ministry since last two periods. And apart from that, earlier also a lot of chartered accountants have been to the prominent positions into the public life, where they got the direct opportunity to contribute into the nation building. Of course, if you are once you get into the corporate life, so definitely chartered accountancy, as Vinitji mentioned, and then definitely as your career progresses, so you will be the part of the CXO team as you raise or climb the corporate ladder after a few years, definitely. And chartered accountant, I would say, as you must have been, all of you have gone through the studies as well as the annual balance sheets of the various corporates. So there is a concept of KMP, key management persons of any company. And CFO of a company is inevitable KMP of that company. So this is the status is granted to chartered accountant, even in the corporate life. Of course, chartered accountancy opens up a lot of wings for going for higher education. Now, chartered accountancy is treated as a post-qualification for and undertaking the research, undertaking the PhD and doctorates. So those are lot of benefits or lot of opportunities which are opened up to you once by these two letters. I have told so many things so far, but I am sure when you must be thinking, so then you must be saying कि आप बात ऐसे कर रहे, but your mind definitely must be having a lot of questions, lot of confusion. So that's why this trial slide is confusion. Definitely a lot of questions must be in your mind. आगे क्या होगा? What is future lies for us? What is going to have us? Yes, we have completed chartered accountancy. Now we have to make career, but a lot of questions are there, a lot of things which we are not clear, right? So, क्या questions हैं? Something I've tried to summarize. Yes, you are going to appear into campus interview. And again, I would share my experience with the campus interview in 1997 when I qualified chartered accountancy. Institute had just started the campus interview, and I remember it was the second attempt by the institute for conducting the campus interview. And that time, campus used to be organized only for 4 metros. And that time, of course, the limited companies started because it was a new concept. So institute was learning, and companies are reaching to the companies. So companies were coming, very few choices, very few companies used to come. And I remember when I entered for the attended campus, that time, most of the companies which came for the campus, they were the PSUs from the oil sector and few companies from the finance sector. So first question जो आप सबके दिमाग में चल रहा है, what is it? Yes, what choose? क्या choose करें? Company choose करें? How to get best job into the best company? Yeah, बड़ी company, which big company we should get the job? Yes. Metro cities के अंदर तो campus interview complete हो गया, and now it is a smaller cities for interview we are entering. So बड़ी companies तो बस they have already might have filled the vacancies from the metro companies. So how will get the jobs into best of the best companies into the right? Next, yes, you have to select क्या choose करें. Everybody says yes. So company profile, yes, salary. Some companies provides very big salaries. Some companies provide salaries are much lesser, which other companies are providing. If I have been selected in more than one company, then what should I choose? What should I prefer? Few of you must be thinking, yes, whether I should complete and enter into the career path right now, or whether I should continue my studies, whether should I go for the higher studies, specialized courses, or maybe other higher education. Yes, with COVID now, work from home, work from anywhere, flexibility options. It is very much important. Few companies provides, few companies does not provide. What we should opt. And this choice, I would say, is become more proactive in nowadays. In earlier, it was like that. It was unwritten rule, yes, 365 days. And yes, by default, all companies used to work 6 days a week. Very few companies were there, mostly into the service sector or financial sector, who used to provide Saturdays off. But that thing is now matter of past. It is being granted, assumed, yes, 5 day working. So by default, it must be available. But now, yes, youngsters, as a youngsters, you must be asking, and yes, your colleagues are asking, yes, whether work from option is are there, whether hybrid option is there, whether I need to go office for full time, whether there can be flexible over working hours or it is fixed hours. So these type of questions definitely must be in your mind. Yes, few of you must be thinking, yes, I want to go for the particular technology company only. I want to go into investment banker. I want to go financial company only. I want to go for taxation. I want to go for this. Or whether I should be open, as Vinit ji mentioned, generalist or specialist. So similar in case of career choice, whether you should have fixed mindset or I should be open. Yes, whatever is coming, I should accept it. Career boss, yes, we have joined. We'll join the company, but they are taking as empty management trainee. But CFO boss, I have to become CFO. I have to become the finance head within next few years, maybe next 5 years. How to become boss? In the other company, they give the promotion in every 2 years. This company, what is the culture? So definitely that is one of the questions which must be. Another question, yes, I am chartered accountant, but other professionals are also into the finance stream and they are getting much better companies, much better packages, much better life. As a chartered accountant, I'm expected to do pure accounting, slog more working hours. So how I would be compared, how would be placed with the other professionals who are joining with me into the company, into career path? Correct? I think these are the few questions all of you must be wondering, pondering, trying to get answer in. Yes, so these sessions, in this session, I will try to answer these questions to you. Was 25 years back when I qualified as a chartered accountant. As I mentioned, we did not have much of the choices. Choices were very simple. Either two choice, only one choice by a question or decision we have to take, whether we have to go, I have to go into practice, or whether somebody wants to go into industry. Within practice also, it was likely mostly statutory audit, then internal audit or tax. In case of industry, yes, by default, it was used to be the accounting job, few of them into the costing or maybe taxation job, then back accounting jobs, MIS sorts getting involved. So that was the practice, that this is the traditional view. But yes, now things have changed substantially. And this change process has increased, intensified after post-COVID. And all of you must be agreeing, yes, after COVID, things have changed. To change the process, it has become much faster, which is much more visible now and much more felt by all of us. Globalization, everybody now, as I mentioned, our country's 5th largest economy into the world. There is a vision of attaining 5 trillion economic track, यानी total GDP company in देश का $5 trillion आज की डेट में $1.5 trillion है, उसको $5 trillion पे पहुंचाने का लक्ष्य है 2030 तक. And आज की डेट में there are only 3 countries into the world, 3 economies into the world who have the 5 trillion, who are crossed 5 trillion mark. Earlier, whatever used to be think, it was used to be within the country. Today, everything is globalized. You must have seen, yes, everything is imported. India is becoming large exporters. So globalization has got much more impact. Startup, yes, always we think, we everywhere we read into the newspapers, startups, unicorn, this is the new buzzword which has come up. So startups, you might have seen a lot of in last few years, lot of new companies, lot of startups have come prominence, disrupted the entire thinking, it's disrupted the entire business model and has become successful. the way of thinking is already changed. We all have studied. We studied start financial management. We studied top line, bottom line. We have studied a lot of ratios. We understand when we talked about we have studied, and when we answered the financial health of the company, we talked about the ratios. We said higher profitability, it is better. What is the debt equity ratio? What is the interest coverage ratio? How much is the liquidity ratio? In case of a startup, it is an eye opener. We all are learning. Even though companies are in losses, even though companies' turnovers are much less, their annual losses are much higher than their annual turnover. But still, their valuations are mind-boggling. So it has got new way of thinking which has come up into that. Innovations, lot of improvement, lot of developments are happening, lot of new way of thinking. Research is happening into accounting things also. The way we studied accountancy 25 years back. Concepts have changed drastically, radically in last few years. Historical cost concepts have been changed and replaced by fair value accounting. Yearly, everything has to be fairly valued. Concept is that, yes, there is no historical thing. There is nothing like that concept, everything permanent. Everything you have to be for fair value. Things are changed drastically. Lot of specialization activities, fields have come up. Valuation has come as a very specialization field, like chartered accountants also. Earlier, it was like, what you are doing, chartered accountancy. Now you say, everybody asks, within chartered accountancy, what you are doing within that company, what is your profile? Kis cheez mein aapka specialization hai? So, lot of things have changed into post-COVID world. And one more important thing, of course, focus has come more on the work-life balance, mental health. So as of now, earlier before, it was granted, assumed, if you are chartered accountant, so then, yes, it was assumed, yes, you are sitting, you slogging lot of long hours into office. That was taken for assumed. But nowadays, post-COVID thing, yes, as a person, human being, everybody focus has shifted on the mental health, work-life balance, and then everybody tries to make their work-life balance more better. So what has changed into CA profession? And when I say change, these are the challenges also, and these creates the opportunity also. First of thing, there is no exclusivity, boss. Earlier, when the profession got started, it started on the exclusivity. There are certain areas, either in practice or into the industry also. Those domains were dominated, those domains were covered, or those domains were by default were used to have the chartered accountant. No more. Those domains, whatever we used to feel, be audit, be accountancy, accounting, be taxation, be financial management, everywhere other professionals have inspired. And then you have to compete, be prepared, and compete with those professionals. There is a lot of focus, I would say. It is almost 2 decades back, our institute, yes, started CPE's program, Continuous Professional Education, to update our professionals' knowledge. Similarly, for students also, every 3 years to 4 years, syllabus is getting changed. Because all of you must be, when you are studying, then you must be wondering why syllabus gets changed. The whole objective has been only that you, as well as all members, are updated, continue to have upskill. Because knowledge is not constant now. Whatever we have learned, whatever is earlier, it was like that expiry period of things was that maybe years or decades. Today, every day you have to upskill yourself. You have to attain new knowledge to be relevant for yourself, to be relevant for your organization. As an accountant, chartered accountant, normally by default, our attitude is that we say we don't take risks. But with new world scenario, changed scenario, this also we have to change, and the focus is on risk taking. Now the buzzword is that if you are in the business, risk is inherent, risk is mandatory, because businesses work, it is risk taking game. As a chartered accountant, as a finance professional, it is your job to manage the risk, to make the framework where you can mitigate the risk in such a manner that persons who are taking risks, that is sufficient, that is not beyond risk. Adventure risk, this not becomes adventure, it remains within risk. Of course, I mentioned shrinking traditional role. Of course, as I mentioned, exclusive earlier, when you must have attended a lot of conferences during student time, or your principals also might have told their experiences when they used to started, and that is a common guess, when they must have started their articleship, and then everybody must have told that they have given telephone directory and must have been told you make the total of that telephone directories or remember the numbers and all those things. Casting used to be the one of the biggest, or making trial balanced or tally, that used to be the biggest quality or expertise which used to be taught or which used to be learned to the chartered accountants. Now, in your era, when you might have gone through the articleship, have you gone through anything, or have you checked the vouchers physically? No, because the world have moved from the manual accounting to the ERP accounting. Similarly, so lot of changes. Now things, even the accounting where you might have heard the word RPA, robotics process technology. Now companies are moving, and it's a reality. Basic accounting is being done by the robots, automated. Earlier it was like that. In case of ERP, probably 50-60% of accounting job was being done by the non-accountants persons, because things were interlinked. Now that manual work is also getting evaporated. Bill passing, lot of transactions processing, which was the domain of the accounting persons, that is assurance, that is being evaporated, diminishing. Those are automated now. You must have heard lot of things are happening into regulatory framework. You might have heard the NAFRA. You might have a lot of regulations have come up for the chartered accountants. Code of conduct has been framed for not only for the chartered accountants practice. Code of conduct have been framed for the chartered accountants industry or service also. And either into practice or service, there is a lot of factor. Public expectations have increased from the chartered accountants and what chartered accountant is doing, or what something has been not done which is expected. So a lot of media alert or lot of media focus has come on our profession in last few years. Among this positive thing is there is a lot of a scope of chartered accountant across the industries and sectors have increased substantially during last few years. That is also reality. So what are the avenues? As I mentioned, yes, basic traditional practice or traditional avenues are diminishing fastly. So whenever you now must be facing, you're appearing for the interviews in the company, you may expect a lot of new things have come up. Chartered account, as I mentioned, IT system development, ERP, robotics process automation. Ultimately, boss, there is a kahani मैं आपको सुनाता हूँ. It may not be directly linked with our profession. प्रेमचंद जी का एक बहुत बड़ा अच्छा उपन्यास है नमक का दारोगा. उसमें एक जो दारोगा था, उसको ethical because he was not involved in some unethical practices, तो उसको उसके रोल से हटा के, और उस टाइम पे नमक के ऊपर टैक्स लगता था, तो he used to collect that, and उसकी कंप्लेंट वगैरह हुई, तो उसको उस रोल से हटा दिया गया और उसको बैठा दिया गया कि भाई ये समंदर है, आपका काम है कि यहाँ पे गिन के दिन भर में कितनी लहरें गिराई, ये गिनकर हमको बताना. Everybody thought कि okay, with this we have solved the problem. But he in that field also was happy and found the ways and opportunities to fulfill his wishes or fulfill his dreams. Of course, I would not say we should, as a chartered accountant, we should go into that. Yes, that is totally unethical. But the point which I'm trying to refer you is these two letters, CA chartered accountants, gives us a lot of opportunity. कुछ रास्ते बंद हो गए हैं तो क्या हुआ, उसके जगह 10 नए रास्ते खुल गए हैं. अगर अकाउंटिंग जॉब, ट्रांजैक्शन जॉब्स, जो ट्रेडिशनल जॉब ऑफ चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट्स या अकाउंटेंट्स का जिसके ऊपर चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट को एज ए फिंगर चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट ट्रेनिंग दी जाती थी, दे यूज्ड टू बी एंगेज इनटू दैट. इफ दोज एरियाज आर नाउ नो मोर, बट अगेंस्ट दैट more than 10 areas are opened up. एक और example I will just share with you. It is little bit which I always feel proud to share. When I started my articleship 28 years back, of course, I qualified BCom and was a fresh coming directly from the college, entered into the office. और आप college life से once you go to office, so definitely your life changes. A lot of things changes. You have to be, behavior pattern has to be changed. So initially 2-3 years old, there used to be fear also. So all those fear things were with me also. And one of there was peon into the office. His name was Kaluram. Then he saw me, and then during lunchtime and evenings, I don't remember fully, but then he mentioned one thing, and which always I carry. He mentioned into Hindi and Marwari Rajasthani, बोला कि भाई जब एक नया लड़का सीए में आता है आर्टिकलशिप करने, he is used to like a brick, बिल्कुल स्क्वायर. And when he completes this course or when he completes his articleships, he becomes rounded, भाटा बन जाता है, round हो जाता है पूरा, घिस के पूरा भाटा बन जाता है. So nobody can stop you. Lot of opportunities are for you. As I mentioned, IT system, integrated reporting. It is a new word which is fast coming, new area which is fast coming, which is emerging into our country also, and a lot of companies, all such companies, as a part of their ESG compliances. Recently, SEBI has mandated ESG compliances and reporting for first 1,000 companies for the by way of market capitalization. What it means? So far, we are aware, हमको सब पता, financial reporting. We always understand annual financial reporting, where we prepares or either audit, completes P&L balance sheet. Integrated reporting is the non-financial reporting. How the company's system is functioning, what company is doing the CSR, how company is performing in case of environment, what are the company's system in case for the diversity, what are the companies has done for research and development. So lot of avenues are there, lot of reporting is there, which has to be mandatory part of the annual report by next year. This opened up a lot new, altogether new domain for chartered accountants in practice, also for chartered accountants in industry also. And I bet you, all of you who are going to enter into industry now this year, most of them you would be placed somewhere into this reporting part, because this is something new. Your peers, seniors do not have that much of experience. It requires a lot of data crunching, lot of preparation, for which team companies require fresh minds, energetic mind like you. Transfer pricing, lot of now focus is that happening, how profits are getting transferred, how transactions are happening between related parties within the company, within the country, or between related parties across the border. This has become very hot topic since last few years, and it requires lot of effort. It requires lot of alertness. It requires lot of ensuring lot of aspect to make a transfer pricing from policy for the company, and to ensure that transactions which are happening within the company are as per the policy. So it's not only policy making for one time, it's a continuous job for which lot of bandwidth of financial professional chartered accountants are engaged by the companies into their profit. Merger and acquisitions, as Vinitji mentioned, yes, this is a part of the reality. Of course, it is may not be the regular feature for everybody, for every company, but as our country is now expanding, economy is growing, merger acquisitions have become fast-paced activity. Nowadays, every company who is into growth path, merger acquisition, acquiring new running company, or acquiring instead of setting up a new company, setting up from scratch, merger acquisition has become one of the favorite growth strategies for the companies. And again, these are the very complex transactions which require months, which may require sometime it extends get for years also. And that is where financial prudence, there the financial brains like you are required to contribute. Of course, you may say it's a very complex transactions, then definitely why. And everybody, yes, possibly you may not get the opportunity to contribute, but it's a teamwork where your bosses, CFO, directors, senior management, finance professional, definitely they are at the helm for making the policy decisions. But again, lot of groundwork has to be done, for which definitely chartered accountants, all of you, have the opportunity. Due diligence and compliance, as Vinit touched upon, yes, compliance and of course, all of you, either you must have done during articleship, either from the audit background also, or as well as from a taxation background also. All of you are aware, last few years, compliance framework has increased substantially. And I always say the culture has changed into the company substantially now. Non-compliance is not choice now. And it is the bread and butter and the foremost duty of whenever chartered accountant is hired by any company. It is assumed that it is his duty to ensure that compliances are he ensures that all compliance are taken place. And normally it is not only financial compliance related to finance or taxation only. Normally, chartered accountant or finance department is always custodian of the entire compliances of across the company, which are various type of compliances. And it's a very complex, I would not say yes, compliance is definitely very complex situation, very complex business, which requires follow up with the various stakeholders also, which requires understanding of law also, which requires proper documentation also, and foremost, which Vinitji touched upon, which requires problem solver attitude also. Because once you enter into the company, you cannot, it is not assumed, yes, it is non-compliant. It is a core part duty of all of you to ensure, yes, it is compliance are done. And whatever challenges, whatever difficulties are coming into the compliance, to eliminate those difficulties, to provide solutions for ensuring that compliance is 100%. Risk management, as I mentioned, risk-taking aptitude. Now, business, as I mentioned, yes, business is nothing but art or game of taking risks. But there is very thin line of business risk and adventure. There are a lot of examples into the real world where risk have become adventure, and very renowned organizations have overnight evaporated, their businesses have gone to tops. That's why nowadays risk management and risk mitigation is one of the biggest task area of CFO across the company. They are substantially specialized, separate verticals of risk management across the companies. This is the new area, of course, again, not purely from the finance perspective, but yes, finance leaders, professionals are normally interested to lead this show along with their other colleagues. So now you have become chartered accountant, you are qualified from the academics. Yes, all of you must be now aspire to start and plan to start your career journey. But there are few things, and then you also aspire to become the top at that finance heads, CFOs, and grow into your career. But can this happen by using those two words, letters C only? No. Answer is no. That is passport entry pass for you, which gives you entry into the corporate world. But there, during this journey of career journey, you have to continuously work on few things, both which are functional. First is continuous functional updation. Your knowledge, you should be updated into the functional knowledge. And when I say functional knowledge, it's not only accounting and taxation and whatever we have read. As I mentioned, the world has changed substantially. It's a world of digitization. As a young chartered accountant, your seniors within the company assumes you are IT savvy. If you are not, and even if today if you are not, then definitely you have to sharpen your IT skills very fast, learn the IT skills very fast, number one. Number two, even if you are IT savvy right now, presently you feel, yes, I know everything. I am proficient into Excel. I am proficient into PowerPoints, everything. I know the accounting softwares also. I have worked into ERP also during my articleship. So I know all transaction codes. Fair enough. But IT's most dynamic sector, every day new developments are happening IT also. So whatever you have learned IT skills, those solution, new programs, new solutions, new everything is coming. So first focus in few years should have been to be for you onto the continuous functional updation, knowledge updation. Yes, Institute has the process of CPE. Definitely, please try to continuously join those CPE programs. But apart from that, also, there are a lot of avenues within the company, within your industry, which you join within lot of, and now all of you are IT savvy and virtual forums are there. Try to sharpen your skills, try to acquire new knowledge, and that knowledge may not be related to finance also, that knowledge may be related to your industry, that knowledge may be related to IT, that knowledge may be related to overall world economy, but focus should be there at least 25 to 30% of your time after office, you're within 2 hours. Please try to invest into that for next few years. Problem solver. I think in earlier session, Vinitji emphasized, and which I also said. As a chartered accountant, why a company hires a chartered accountant? And I would not say that it's all solely fault of you or anybody. Yes, chartered accountant and it's Alan. And even in my career, I would say, I have heard, even today I also, don't be auditor. Because we are accustomed, and the way we have trained as an auditor, and as an auditor's task is limited to ensure, yes, things have been done as per the standards, or if there is non-conformity, to report to that. But when you enter into industry, when you join any business, when you join an organization, your task starts from that, beyond that. Your task is to manage the system, to build the system in such a manner there is no non-compliance, there is no problem. And even if problems, yes, and I won't say no problem, it will not be the case, because real life world, there would be problems which will keep on coming, which will keep on emerging. But you are hired by the company or hired by the organization to provide solution for that. And that you will be able to do only when you have advanced, you have depth functional knowledge, number one. Number two, yes, adaptive and proactive. Because problem is there, probably it may not be coming a part of your job, but when you enter into the corporate life, you should have the nose like dogs, where you can smell what is happening within the organization. You should have the eyes like eagle. You have where you can visualize what is can happen. And when you are not fixed like that, yes, whatever is my allocated job, which I will do, and then with my duties over. But when you are proactive, then only within the organizations you will get new jobs, you will get higher responsibilities, and you will get the opportunities to work on the projects or new problems which is coming to the organization. That will help you to improve your efficiency. That will help you to drive your career at a much faster pace than their peers. Communication skills, I would say this is one of the thing where again most of the chartered accountants, including myself also, I confess, we lack compared to our peers, non-chartered accountants peers mainly. Of course, lot of work has been done, and nowadays because with presentation and emphasis has been given into communication, into the articleship, during the articleship also, and in the syllabus also. So definitely, of course, you have acquired skills, but it's again process. And this has to be required practice on day-to-day basis. It needs to be enhanced in such a manner. Second thing, again, I would say, again, this is because of the basic and framework under which we are trained or we are expected to do. As a chartered accountant, as a financial professional, we are supposed to be take true decision, and that's why many times we become curt. We say yes, we say what is truth, no to no. So somewhere there is boundary of curtness, truthness versus curtness. Many times we cross that knowingly or unknowingly. There are truths, the ways to express the truths. And once you enter into the corporate field, so it's not that, yes, you are the only finance professional who are the well-wisher of the company, or who are the working, slogging hours for the growth of the company. Your other peers definitely would be working into the same vision, with having same vision. So then it is much more important to work as a team, to develop skills within yourself, to enhance your communication skill, be truthful, but in a polite manner. Time management, again, it is definitely one of the important point which we are, and when we are working into dynamic world where things are evolve faster. Earlier days, when I used to completed what pursuing chartered accountancy, there used to be annual closing. And when annual closing used to start after March or in April, we used to complete the accounts by September. So there used to be 3 to 4 months where the annual closing used to happen, then audit used to happen. So overall average time frame used to be 3 to 4 months for completion of any audit or accounting of closure. Then we moved on to quarterly closing. Statutorily, it is quarterly closing. Practically every month nowadays do monthly closing. When I started my career into industry, it used to be monthly closing. We used to take proud within 7 days, or by 7th or by 10th, we complete the monthly closing. Then we started moving by 7th. Today, there are companies who take the pride, and it is the vision and target for all the companies who provides their management financial person provides financial result monthly performance next day morning of the closure of the previous month by 11 a.m. itself. So this is the speed on which now people are working, and that is expected from us also, that yes, we have to be in pace, we have to be proactive in that line. Ethics and integrity, that is, I would say, the backbone of our profession. That the two letters for which we are proud of that. when you enter into chartered industry, there would be, I would maybe sometime there may be issues or situations where you may be in dilemma. But my advice and my experience to you is that be strict. Remember two words, CA. These are of utmost importance. The pride, honor, which is given to these two letters. This is because of the integrity and ethics exhibited by our predecessors in last 75 years. And because of that, these pride and respect has been earned for that. Please ensure by any of our act, we by ourselves or by because of corporate compulsion at all, we do not compromise on these things. Last thing, of course, money matters, no doubt about it. All of us works for the money, but it should not be sole driver. Even now, also when you make your career decision, only CTC should not be your sole driver for taking the decision. That is my sincere advice to all of you. So now I have given a lot of lecture to all of you. But now then definitely you will ask, okay, you have given the lecture, you have given your advices, but now what? Next week we are going to appear for the campus interviews. A lot of companies are going to come. What to do? How to make career choices? Institute gives us a choice to appear for select for the 4 companies only, number one. So how we select which 4 companies we should opt. And then when company gives the offers, then institute expects that if we select one of the offer, then further opportunities are not there. So that time, how I should be taking the decision? What should be the criteria to take correct decision, voice career choice? And of course, that is the subject of my talk, right? So again, I would, based on my experience, based on the overall experience by all my mentors, may not be finance from other fields also, I would say, first thing, assess your personality traits. All of us have different type of personality. There is nothing right or nothing wrong. Some of us find kick into working and during studying in late nights. Some of find used to study early in the morning. Similarly, into your articleship also, you must have felt. Some of you all must have found joy, enjoy satisfaction, or expert in into running to the frontline work. Some of the work on the number crunching. Are you the person who can work overnight, late night? Are you the person who can put work into tremendous pressure? Are you a person who takes time but believes in more perfection? You believe, yes, I would, whatever I have done, I would reproof it again, review it again. I will check it again. I will want to check it 3 times before giving it to person. So every personality is different. So first you assess what type of personality you are. That is most important. Once if you are because once you are able to align your personality with the job requirement, with type of the company, that will give you strong foundation for success into the career. Because if your personality is different, your company's requirement or job requirement is different, your company culture is a bit different, so then definitely but the other person who yeah. So definitely that time no new jobs will not be offered to him. So that is most important, one important point. Yes, once you are able to do a personality test, so then you will be able to. Next is that, yes, focus on your learning curve, which I covered. Past history of the company, when you are assessing, just try to Google, try to get the reference check with your seniors, with your known persons into the what type of company it is, what type of industry is functioning. Most important, what is the company culture, whoever has joined into the company earlier, what is the future after few years, where those persons are there. That will help you to take appropriate timely decision. Last 2 points, because I would not take much time. I think my time is already closed, but Ji already joined. So last 2 points, work-life balance and family. I would say these two earlier we used to focus. Yes, we used to assume 24/7, 365 days. Chartered accountant है, accounts में है, तो ये तो overnight सुबह 9 से रात को 10 बजे से पहले घर पे आने की जरूरत नहीं है. Things have changed. Yes, focus on the work-life balance and of course family's backbone. My last message, advice to you only is that career is marathon, it's not a sprint. Don't take short-term goal, don't think from the short term, it's a long-term journey. So today, in short term, you may feel X company, X choice is better, but if take long-term view and then take the appropriate decision.
Now
With
I
this, yeah. With this, my thank you very much and for patient sharing, and all the best, all of you, for your starting your journey into the career, into industry. All the best for getting best of the best, whatever you wish it gets fulfilled. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your experiences and enlightening our young chartered accountants. We would like to thank you for your sparing your precious time. Your motivational talk will surely help the newly qualified chartered accountants to face the interviews at smaller centers with more and more confidence. Really grateful to you, sir. Now, I would like to welcome the speaker of last technical session, Mr. C. J. Charya, sir, who is the past council member ICI. He will be taking the last session on Give Wings to Your Wishes. Welcome, sir. Now, the virtual dice is yours, sir.
Yes, Shalini ji, thanks a lot. I'm not sure whether the session is on.
Yeah, it's on, sir. We're able to hear you, sir. Please start, sir.
Okay. I was not very sure about it. I thought maybe there is some compare I was going to discuss about. Anyways, a very good evening to all of you, friends. And the topic that has been given to me is very interesting. I'm sure the previous two speakers must have given you quite good inputs to all the new chartered accountants. First of all, let me congratulate you for completing your chartered accountancy and joining our profession. And let me just very quickly go through my topic. The topic that has been given to me is give wings to your wishes. So friends, Shalini ji, actually I'm not very sure whether it is uninterrupted or not. Is it so that certain videos are on, or because I feel I'm just talking to my iPad? I cannot make out whether it is going on, but anyways, if there is something, you can just inform me at that point of time. Okay. So friends, the topic is give wings to your thoughts, to your career, to your life. Now that, many people must have told you that once you have completed chartered accountancy, that's great. That's all. Ek bar tune CA kar dala, to life jingalala. But friends, it does not happen that way. Yes, you have taken a very big step in your life by completing chartered accountancy, by choosing chartered accountancy, working upon it, acquiring the skills, and successfully completing chartered accountancy. You have done a wonderful thing in your life. But now it is a new beginning for you. Like in Hindi, as you say, abhi to party shuru hui hai. So when we talk about giving wings, honestly speaking, friends, I don't know. मैं आपको देख नहीं पा रहा हूँ, I cannot see you. So I'm not very sure that my message rightly goes or not. In the last, during the COVID period, it was mandatory to go online. But otherwise, in physical programs, we can look at the faces of one another, and it is very much, we can say, two-way conversation takes place, which is not possible this time. But I hope that you are in this particular session. So when we talk about give the wings, so the question is, what after chartered accountants? So please understand, if you go to a B school, a good B school, say in US, and you go to the batch when they are going to move out, completing the degree of MBA, and you start asking them, what you are going to do after completion of your MBA? Then one of the students would say, well, I want to start with an NBFC of my own, so I'll be working in an NBFC for say 2 years, and then after start with my own NBFC. The another would say, I would like to come ahead with an educational institute. The third one would say that I want to go into apparel industry. The fourth one would say that I would like to go with the chain of restaurants. Now, as against that, you go to a CA final batch. I'm not sure how the things are changing today. I have not gone to MCS batch in the last few years, but maybe, in the past when I used to go and I used to ask, boss, after completing chartered accounts, what you are going to do? It would be like the first person would say practice, second would say practice, third would say industry, fourth would say industry, fifth would say practice. So it is practice, industry, industry, practice. Now suppose you ask them, what practice? Then they would say, income tax audit, nowadays GST, and like that. What I'm trying to say is, when you say give wings to your thoughts, give wings to your maybe fantasies, give wings to your career, what I'm trying to say is, why is it so that many of our chartered accountant friends are looking at this way, that they can go only in audit or they can go only in taxation? Similarly, when we say industry, and I ask young chartered accountants which industries, they would say that wherever the campus, whatever type of company comes in campus, wherever I am placed, I'll go into that. Friends, the actual fact is that we have wonderful opportunities. We have so much of scope, but unfortunately, many times, lack of vision is there, where you only focus on a certain aspects. Like many of the young chartered accountants today, or even in the past, did not look beyond income tax or audit. While I believe that chartered accountants can do wonderfully well. Friends, first of all, you have to decide in your career, what would you choose to be? Is it so that you want to go into practice? Or is it so you want to go into industry? And the third one, the very important one, do you want to be an entrepreneur? Friends, let us understand, 3 decades back, when you talked about a chartered accountant, if you talk about anyone in this particular profession, it was something like only into practice, right? When somebody talks about chartered accountant, he considers a person who is into practice having his own office. People in industry were probably, not considered at all. But in the last 3 decades, if you look at the scenario has totally changed. And what I see today is that chartered accountants very much into industry or other. In the last 2 decades, there have been more people going into industry than practice. So today, if you look at it, it is 60% industry, 40% practice, something like that. Then the third front, that is entrepreneurship. Why are we not considering that? Chartered accountants, believe me, can be the best in entrepreneurship. They can be wonderful. So when I talk to a young chartered accountant and ask him, boss, what you are planning? Why I am not getting any answers like, I want to go into real estate, or maybe I want to start a software company, or maybe I want to start a chain of restaurants, or even why not? I want to start with a beauty parlor chain, or maybe I want to go into textiles or something like that. What I'm trying to say is that, why are we not looking at entrepreneurship? Because the skill set that we have, tell me one thing, if any businessman has a major problem in business, where does he go? He naturally comes to chartered accountant. So why is it so that I can only restrict myself to practice and I have to serve only other people? Well, being in practice is a wonderful idea. Similarly, going into industry is yet another great idea. But why are we not considering the third front, which is a very important front, and that is entrepreneurship? Because here there can be too much of diversification. Similarly, why are we not looking into the emerging fields? Why is it so that out of 100 chartered accountants into practice, they come into only direct taxes or nowadays into GST? Why is it so that we are not into forex services? Or why is it so that we are not looking into portfolio management services? Now, the scope of all these things are improving. Why we are not looking into the new aspects, new areas, maybe systems audit or internal audit, or maybe process audit or creation of soaps, and all these things, why we are not looking into? So anyway, this is just a food for thought. What I would suggest is you should spend reasonably good time on this particular aspect. Why you practice, why not practice? What are the pros and cons? Similarly, why industry, why not industry? And if I go into industry, where exactly I want to move? What are the sectors which I am looking at? Where at the same time, whether I want to be absorbed in India or I want to move out. If it is moving abroad, then the question is, where would I like to move? Is it US? Is it Australia? Is it Canada? Where exactly? And maybe for an intermittent time, you might shift. Maybe you must start with Dubai for say 2-3 years. Therefrom, you think about moving to London, maybe for 2-3 years, and maybe therefrom you are going to Los Angeles or New York. My point is that up till now you have invested a lot. You have invested your energies and thoughts and your intellect on becoming chartered accountant, on acquiring the technical skills. You have acquired wonderful knowledge in terms of income tax, in terms of GST, in terms of audit, in terms of corporate law, in terms of other economic laws, in terms of maybe costing, in terms of finance, and so many other technical subjects. But why is it so that we are not putting enough energy? Why is it so that we are not putting enough energy on our career progression? Now, this is the most crucial time. Friends, believe me, this decision is the most crucial decision in your life. Just imagine a scene. If Sachin Tendulkar would not have chosen cricket and would have chosen to become a violin player, then maybe I'm not sure whether his career would be like this or not. So this is the right time. You have to put in lot of energy. For that purpose, you might collect a lot of information. You might interact with a lot of, say, experienced people of the particular field. But ultimately, you have to spend a lot of time understanding yourself. Who you would like to become? Would you like to become an entrepreneur? And if yes, in which field? Would you like to go into industry? What is that industry? Is it banking industry, IT industry, real estate, FMCG? Where exactly you want to move? Which cities in India would like to live? Or maybe if you want to go abroad, where? And what is your modus operandi? How do you exactly take your journey? So this is one very important, crucial thing that you should look into. Suppose you are coming into practice. What are the emerging areas? You have to list out some 8-10 areas, which are the emerging areas. Then start collecting the information about that. And therefrom, you might curtail it down to some 2 to 3 areas, looking at your skill set, looking at your interest. Friends, we all have the same degree, chartered accountancy, but our interest, our passion is not the same. Maybe I might be very interested in reporting, and maybe some of you might be very interested in statutory audit. So we'll have to look into our interest. At the same time, these days, a new dimension is coming into the business, and that is startup, right? Startups are moving out across the globe. Of course, it is, I can say, old wine in new bottle to a certain extent. The business is now, coming and startup with a different, I can say, different dimension or different flavor. So startup also. Why is it so? What surprises me is why in India, if out of 100 startups from educated community coming up, then why 70 should come from engineering community? Why not startups from chartered accountants? Why I'm telling you and I are well better? The reason is that we have gone for horticulture. We have gone for practical training. Our subjects are related to business, right? All the various core areas of business we have covered very well in your curriculum. And we have multi-dimensional view. We do understand finance, we do understand audit, we do understand reporting, we do understand systems, we do understand costing, right? If we join all these things, we can develop strategy, we can develop vision. Vision is the most important thing. So, why not converting our ideas, right, with innovative ideas? Why not coming up with startups? So when I say wings, what I want is, wild fantasies in terms of career. Why should I restrict myself only to a few things while the whole world is open? Friends, believe me, the entire world is open for us. There are so many areas where you can enter. Even fortunately, in the last few years, I have seen many young chartered accountants have chosen to go into UPSC. So why not to go into UPSC and choose to be IAS or IRS? Maybe, the nation requires, we can say, bureaucrats like you, those who can take this nation to the next level. So you will have to think about it. You have to think about it. Now, at this particular juncture, it's very natural that you might not be very clear as to what exactly you want to. Friends, believe me, for success, the most important ingredient is not the technical skills, right? Technical skills are very important, but one of the most important skills, or one of the most important thing is rather your vision. Your vision. What is the vision, right? When a person working at petrol pump had a vision of becoming business and he becomes Mr. Ambani. So it's all about vision. So you have to work on your vision. For that purpose, you have to sit with yourself. You have to identify yourself. You have to self-introspect. What are your skills? What is your passion? Well, anyway, as you are youngsters and now you have become chartered accountants, I am sure you will be absorbed by the industry. And in the very initial period, you will be fetching good salaries or moderate salaries. Now, what mistake I have seen with some chartered accountant is that maybe in the initial 4 or 5 years, whatever they earn, they'll spend on luxurious car, or maybe, honeymoon to Switzerland, or maybe, they'll spend on iPhones and this and that. I would suggest that in the initial years, please see to it that you don't spend everything what you earn. Rather, you save more and more out of it. Maybe you have completed chartered accounts at a very young age, and looking at the current Indian position, maybe you are mostly unmarried. So in that case, this is the right time. This is the right time that you earn, you save, and you invest. So that over a period of 5 to 7 years, you have a sizable amount. Why so? Because tomorrow you have an entrepreneurship idea. Tomorrow you have a startup idea. You can initially start with that. At the same time, second, you can go to the next level. You can go to the next level. So my first point is that, you should ensure that now slowly and gradually you move towards financial freedom. Many times I have seen many professionals, maybe software professionals, maybe chartered accountants, maybe other professionals, that even after a practice of 10 to 15 years, they have very merged savings. So they are not financially free. Unless you are financially free, you cannot take risk. Your risk appetite will be low. You cannot jump into some, unknown terrain. So I would suggest that this is one very important thing. If you look at to become an entrepreneur, if you look at growing yourself beyond the limits, then some of the very important aspects for success are, first one that you have to look into is reinvestment opportunities. Friend, please understand, earning is not a very big deal. And now that you have become chartered accountants, you might be fetching very good salary over a period of time. In your practice, you might be having good earnings. But the question is, just your earnings on a regular basis do not create wealth. And unless you are in creation of your wealth, how do you reach into the financial freedoms, right? My point is that after 10 years of your being professional, your additional income by investment should be reasonably good enough compared to your current income that you are making from your salary or your practice. And maybe 2 decades of your practice, your investment income should be more every year than your regular income, so that you have a good breathing space and you can, many times you might get new ideas to start entrepreneurship, or you want to switch over from industry to practice, or maybe from practice to industry, or whatever the case may be. And if you are financially free, you will have that risk appetite, you will have that passion, you will jump into the new dimension, and I'm sure that can take you to newer heights. So that is very important. Friends, you will have to understand one thing. If you really want to go into wealth creation, going into financial freedom, then one of the very important aspects is reinvestment opportunities. See what happens. Say, as a chartered accountant, I earn, say 20 lakhs in the very first year. Let us take an example. Now suppose, now in my office, I don't have any reinvestment opportunity. Say for instance, I have my office. So what do I do with 20 lakhs? Now suppose if I don't smartly invest it, then it does not grow. And unless it grows, and unless you take the advantage of the eighth wonder of the world, what is the eighth wonder? That is the compound interest. How do you grow? How do you exponentially grow? With your regular practice or with your regular industry, you will grow. But your growth, you will grow, but your growth will be, I can say, would be linear. As against that, if you have business with reinvestment opportunity, or along with your practice, you are on the reinvestment track, you are a smart investor. So my point is that even if you are into practice, you have to understand the trends of real estate in India. You have to understand the stock market. You have to understand the various investment opportunities. That is very crucial for your growth as well as your client's growth. And you have to be like, their growth partners. Like if you are into practice, with your code of conduct, you cannot technically become the partners of your clients. And rather, you should not even become. But the point is that at least you can be the growth partners. You can consult them for growth. And believe me, in that case, if you make them grow and create huge value in their life, then you can also get in return a very good fees. So reinvestment approach is a very important thing. Secondly, what you should look at, if you are going into practice or you are going to entrepreneurship, then you must ensure that such type of businesses, you create systems govern. There can be business where you are always required, and there can be business where over a period of time, your role will be limited. In the initial years, you have to work, but then slowly and gradually, you develop the systems that even though you are not physically present, your business keeps on moving. So you have to understand the systems. Unless your businesses are systems governed, you cannot grow. Take an example of McDonald's. I'm not a very big McDonald's fan, right? I'm not a very burger type of person, but just to give an example, look at McDonald's. They have a systems governed business. So the owner does not know, right, where the McDonald's shop is, what is going on in a particular shop, but he's earning. He's earning handsomely well. McDonald's created systems. KFC created systems. Starbucks created systems. So if you create systems governed business, then your potential to grow becomes further. So when you say, give wings, if you really want to fly high, then you have to understand the systems. You have to invest into systems. This is one important aspect that you have to look into. Yet another thing is, in the very initial years, you should dirty your hands. You are not very sure whether you want to go into this field or that field. Maybe you can try out a number of ideas, number of fields in practice also. Maybe in the initial years, if you are into practice, you take care of all these things, maybe direct tax and GST and audit and whatnot, everything. But slowly and gradually, you observe. The most important thing is observation. Slowly and gradually, you observe. What is that something which has better scope? What is that something where it can be systems governed and your role would be limited? What is something where you can delegate in future? What is more repetitive and you create a team? We chartered accountants have to improve upon delegation skills, on team building skill. That is very, very, very crucial. If you can do that, then over a period of time, you can have growth, right? You can have a vision of starting an office with your own and making it a 4-person's office and from 4 to 400. It is only possible when you have that vision and you develop your delegation skills. Another very important thing is, any business can be successful where you create a replicating model. Take once again an example of Zara. Suppose you and I start with a boutique. What will happen? We'll come with a one shop, or maybe over a period of 2 decades, 2 shops or 3 shops. But when Zara starts with a replicating model, H&M starts with a replicating model, what happens? When KFC starts with a replicating model, what happens? They come up with 2,000, 5,000, 10,000 stores. So why not you and I, we do that? We chartered accountants actually have the wonderful potential. We can connect the dots. We are good with so many aspects: taxation, finance, reporting, audit, right? So many. But at the same time, we have to understand, this is our SWOT analysis. While we are good with all these aspects, maybe we are not very good with branding or marketing or maybe some leadership skills, right? So we have to acquire them. We have to understand strategy. I would suggest you, that now that you have become chartered accountants, kindly see to it, this should not be the end of collecting knowledge, right? Up till now, the knowledge they have collected, most of them is technical knowledge, right? Now you should start reading about leadership. Please ensure that every year you read 1 or 2 books on leadership, how the leaders lead organizations. Because maybe you start as an employee, but your target should be becoming the CEO, CFO of the company. Your target should be creating your own company. Maybe you create a new Google. It is very much possible. Unless I dream big, right? Unless I am, it is in technical terms of management termed as BHAG. BHAG is BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goals, right? The goal should be so big that people say that you are crazy. You people feel that, it is exaggeration. But you are very convinced in it. You have a conviction that, no, this is really what I mean to do, and you can hit it hard. So please ensure that you go into that. So you require systems governed business, as I said, and a replicating model. Unless your model can be replicated, you cannot grow. You will be stagnant in some particular case. And I'm sure nobody wants stagnancy. Each and every person wants to remain vibrant. Each and everyone wants growth, right? Phenomenal growth. And for these things, this is very important. One very important thing that we have to understand is creating values. Creating value for our clients. If you are into industry, then you should create value for that industry, right? It is not just that because I am a chartered accountant, or because I am a rank holder, or because I am a gold medalist, or because I got highest marks in FAM or accounts or whatever. The world does not go like that. The more important thing is how the other person is benefited because of it. If I am into the industry, then I should ensure that how I can do something more for that industry, how I can be proactive, how I can add a value to that particular industry. If you are into practice, how you can create value for your clients. That is very, very important. And if you become an entrepreneur, how you can create values in the lives of people. The most important and fundamental thing for success in commercial life or even your personal life is value creation. What you are is not that relevant, but how much value you create in the lives of others, that is very, very crucial. So your focus should be, what will be the benefits people will have by joining me? If people join me, what benefits they will have? Another important thing is, if you are becoming entrepreneurs, then you have to think about creating brands, right? You cannot be settled with smaller businesses or like that. You have to create brands, big brands, right? You have Google, you have IBM, you have Apple, creating brands. So there is a science for that. So as I was talking up to you, every year maybe you are reading 1 or 2 books on leadership, maybe 1 or 2 books on branding, on differentiation, on marketing. So whatever you learned in your chartered accountancy was like betting side of the cricket. But if you really want to win in the game of cricket, it is not only the batting side which is relevant, you require the other side also. So you require fielding, you require bowling, you require wicket keeping. So like that, you already learned some technical subjects. Now you require investing in understanding about the brands, about differentiation, about leadership, about strategy, about creating vision. Maybe you can read certain books in this particular direction. This is very crucial. It should be your regular habit, yearly habit. Every year reading 1 book on leadership, 1 book on strategy, 1 on marketing, so that the other skill set that you have not learned in your chartered accountancy, that can also be strengthened. So that is it. Another very crucial thing that you have to understand is, if you really want to grow, then the today's mantra is differentiation. Differentiation. Friends, let us understand. There are so many sandwich stores in India, so many sandwiches, but then Subway is creating a differentiation. Subway is also sending one type of sandwich. I repeat, I am not a very big Subway fan, but what I am trying to say is they have differentiated themselves. There are so many people selling coffee, but Starbucks or maybe Cafe Coffee Day have differentiated themselves. So one differentiation aspect is very important. If you go into plain vanilla practice, where all the different type of firms are homogeneous, then you don't get the premium in your fees. Then you get stagnant up to a particular level. If you really want to grow beyond the limit, then you have to understand that there has to be some differentiation. Now, there can be a number of different ways how you can differentiate, because by differentiation and focusing on branding, understanding the science of that, you can grow your business, your practice, and the industry in which you are. So these are some very important aspects. I'm sure my previous speakers must have talked about very important aspects, and you must have attended number of programs where our chartered accountants have given you idea about GST, they have given idea about the practice in taxation, or maybe they have talked about the insolvency professional, they have talked about valuation and all this technical stuff. I thought that within half an hour, I'm going to just talk to you and not talk about any of the traditional things, trying to give you a new dimension, a new flavor. So differentiation is a very important aspect. Next comes global perspective. Next comes global perspective. Friends, you have to understand one thing. While I was in US, I'll just give an example. While I was in US, I met some few youngsters, and what I was amazed to know is when I said I'm from Surat, Gujarat, then they knew that Surat is popular for textile, Surat is popular for diamond. When I talked about some other city, they knew about that. So what positive things I looked at it, they had a global perspective. Now suppose I complete my chartered accountancy, I'm staying in a small town, and my continuous thought is having an office in the same small town. Then naturally, my dreams are small. I don't say it is wrong. I don't say it is wrong. Every dream is perfect. Somebody wants to have such type of setup, that is also fine. But what happens? Because I have not visualized beyond that. What I'm trying to say is, now there are global opportunities, and thanks to COVID, I would say thanks to, right? I'm not going to look at the negative side of COVID, right? But thanks to COVID, now you and I are in a position to interact with the world sitting in our offices. Now, whether it is Zoom or all other platforms, it is very simple. Sitting at your place, you can interact across the world. And fortunately, after COVID, I have met so many youngsters who could connect to their counterparts, who could connect to different parts of the world and started getting work flow from US or Australia or UK or Canada and something like that. So I think that is also one very big opportunity. I'm sure about it. Please understand, if our practice, if our business, if our economy is restricted to India, then we are small market, comparatively small. But if we go beyond, if you have to grow, then either the market sizes or the market to increase. Both the dimensions are very important, right? So how to increase the size? Becoming global. If for information technology, the entire world has to look to India, right? Is looking at India. So naturally for finance, naturally for taxation, naturally for reporting, the entire world, and today in the IFRS regime, where most of the nations will be into IFRS regime, where over a period of time, our accounting is going to be, say, uniform, and all these new fields are going to support the youngsters. This is a great opportunity to become a global player. Sitting in a small town, you can serve your clients from sitting in Los Angeles or Frankfurt or maybe London or whatever it may be. So this is one very important thing. And if you are looking at this particular aspect, if suppose you go into the space of outsourcing, I would suggest that the moment you are into outsourcing industry and you start with that, I would suggest that look at which are the countries where there are wonderful opportunities, and maybe they are not English speaking countries, because you and I can talk about our language, mother tongue, can talk in Hindi, the national language, and can talk in English. Maybe if you find an opportunity, very good clientage in Germany, say for instance, you're going to get big lot from Germany, I would suggest, why not to start learning German language, right? So even such type of things you can look into. I think these are some of the very important aspects that you should look into it. Vision, as I say, and at the same time visibility. Now, I am sure I don't have to tell youngsters what is visibility. You know very well in the social media how you show your personal visibility. Similarly, how you can develop your professional visibility. That is also very important. And one of the skills that chartered accountants should learn is communication skills and presentation skills. Because our course was distance mode course. That's why it was not possible, it is not visible under this particular setup to work more on the presentation or communication skills. But you can develop them. And I'm sure this will help a lot in creating your brand, in interacting with the people across the globe, in the initial years, my suggestion would be dirty your hands with maybe some few opportunities, because you might not be very sure who you are, whether you are good in this subject or that subject. Maybe you have multiple choices. So maybe you dirty your hands in the initial few years, even if you are getting a little less paid for that. But over a period of time, with your observation, you can maybe, bring down the number of areas to some 2 or 3 and finally choose the right area for you. Naturally, at the same time, it is needless to tell you, adopt technology. Today, everything is moving towards technology. And you being young chartered accountants, a senior chartered accountant does not require telling you that technology is important. Rather, we chartered accountants have to learn. I completed my chartered accountancy 25 years back. At that point of time, you can understand what is the position of technology. Right? During our articleship, there were no computers and we are doing it everything physically. So naturally, I cannot tell you something more about technology, but at the same time, I can just, request you, urge you that keep on learning technology, maybe artificial intelligence or deep learning or blockchain or whatever, so that tomorrow you have an upper hand. You have an upper hand in whatever area you are, whether entrepreneurship or practice. So I think these are some few things which I felt I was given a time slot of 45 minutes. And I think that within this short period, I'm in a position to interact with you on these things. Rather, actually, it was the one way. I could not see you, so I was not very sure in which direction to take the conversion forward. And I'm not sure whether this question answer session is there or not. It seems it is not there. Otherwise, I would have loved to listen to your question answers and accordingly, develop my speech. Finally, I once again congratulate you for completing your chartered accountancy. Congratulate you for joining our CF fraternity, being young and dynamic professional, and my best wishes to you. At the same time, urging once again to invest quite a good amount of time doing your own SWOT analysis and making right selection, whether entrepreneurship or maybe coming into practice or maybe industry, what type of sector. At the same time, trying to understand what are the skill sets that you are very strong. Maybe you have very good computational skills, but maybe you are not good in presentation. How to improve upon the presentation skills, working on that thing. I think this is the time to invest into yourself. And I'm sure if you do this rightly at this time, this is the time to sow the seed and you will come out with wonderful harvesting time. So once again, best wishes from my time. I was allotted 45 minutes and I have completed time. Shalini, back to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for sharing your experiences and enlightening young chartered accountants, sir. Really, really grateful to you for sparing your valuable time. Hope your motivational talk and your experiences will surely help the chartered accountants to face the interviews at smaller center with more and more confidence. Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
I would like to thank all the chartered accountants, and hopefully our session will really be beneficial to you. And for any query, you may drop us a mail at cajob@ici.in. Thank you.
Shalini, should I you now?
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.